Hello, everybody. Good morning or good afternoon, wherever you're listening to me in the world. So, what do we talk about today? We talk about the future, we talk about trends. Some of them are not new to you, I'm sure. If you're in the business, you know definitely what's happening in the world. But I want to stop first at what is a trend, okay, versus a fad, for example. So trends are long-term vision of the market, the category, the consumer sentiment, where they're going, what are the needs of the market. They build up through loads and loads of observations over time. These observations are of consumers' lives. What are the gaps? What are the challenges? What are the changes? These little bits and pieces that happen when we as business owners are likely to miss it out. It all comes down to the consumer, the customer, whether it's B2B, B2C, anywhere in the world. Some trends um, are obvious, like, whatever happened after COVID. It's not like the health trend or taking care of myself or maintenance were not there, or that the well care industry were not double digit anyway. But then came COVID, had implications on literally everything. And now, as we say, after the dust has settled, what is left? If we're talking about 20% upsale, more or less, in e-commerce grocery because of COVID, and older consumers are now able to log into an application and shop for grocery. That was COVID with the lockdown, but is that still a trend? And if we as business owners, we wanted to continue in that business, what are we doing? It has now shifted from a trend to a solid business opportunity. It's more operational and brand building, of course, rather than just sheer luck, more or less, that COVID happened. So I hope that settles that part. There's tons and tons of, trends that we can talk about. I selected a few big ones that I think can be actionable, whether in your business, in your market, or globally, depends where you are. I think trends are fundamental for any big company that wants to invest ahead of the curve and be the market leader. Those who just, follow, that's absolutely fine. You're following. But I always say, like, there are dinosaurs and there are the little ones that eat the pie. And many big companies, multinationals, have realized this more than 10 years ago that they cannot compete because it's all these little startups that are coming up with a lot of good innovative ideas, niche markets and consumer segments that they are tapping into. I mean, I was just reading last week that L'Oreal acquired a company, at undisclosed figure, Lactobio, which is probiotic microbiome research company, very focused on the future of skincare. So, and this is their second acquisition in that same line in 2023. That's brilliant management. It's very smart. They're investing in the future, and for them, it's not like nutrition and skincare and taking care of myself, blah blah blah, was not there. They know their consumers, but how do you stretch your portfolio from originally it's a makeup company. Their slogan, "You're worth it," is 51 years old to the moment, and they've grown and they're a global brand. So looking at trends, understanding them, and filtering them through a lens of local markets that you are operating in is absolutely fundamental for big companies. What they're doing, and they realize that they don't have all the best R&Ds. They don't have the time or maybe the talent even to process from ideation to launch, which could take between 2 and 3. they might have looked into and still do incubators. They supporting incubators for all of these little startups, so they can innovate for them, and then they take it to scaling up and commercializing, even going through launching in the market at a scale of 6 months, where you are learning, not making money out of it, and then rework it out and so forth. There's so many examples in that. So that is why looking at transfer big companies is great. And at the same time, for little people, yes, startups are key into the growth and of any business community in any market, as well as small and medium enterprise. And these are the guys who come up with the niche opportunities. They might not have the muscle to build a brand, but they have the know-how to build a product that can be a breakthrough. So in total, that is the overall picture of why trends are important. Now, another bigger picture here is around what is going on in the world. Two buzzwords that came up or continue to come up in the news, and I'm sure you're aware of it: green energy, okay, and AI. So green energy, even though it sounds very technical, but COP28 just wrapped up, and they are promising by 2030 3 times investment in green energy. Now, we as brand people, marketing people, do I have to be a technical person? No, but I could be joining a company that works in green energy. Do I have the technical skills, as in I understand what this business is about and who are the stakeholders? Because it's the same thing, and I definitely advocate for, if you are a marketeer or a business strategist, or in that area we work in, of course you have to understand your tools, and how to develop them. And I think over time, we see a lot of talent development and gaps. LinkedIn recently and over 2023 have published a lot of material about gaps and opportunities for us as marketeers. And one of them was challenging the idea of, I have to have experience in that same industry so you can hire me. And that is a big challenge in B2B. While really there's a lot of examples recently, Xerox, for example, they just relaunched their brand. And to cater for B2B, they actually launched it through B2C tools, because they realized that the influencers of choosing the brand are employees. They want to facilitate their daily jobs so they can go back earlier in the weekday to their kids and families, while the decision makers and influencers for these B2B is really the IT person and the head of the company, and they have budgets and all. But Xerox took it from the end game, the user. Yeah. So a lot of B2B, I mean, I recently worked with a construction company and relaunching their corporate brand. And the CEO was very unhappy when I removed his photo. I said, no offense. I mean, you're not like your Taylor Swift or something. But, people want your customers, yes, they want the sales pitch, but they want you to come in first. And in the first statement, you tell them why, in who you are and what are you about, and why should I buy you. This is ABC of building a brand. It doesn't really matter that this is a B2B. Yeah. Again, you're a customer. You want to listen in to why I should invest in your company. Why should I invest in your brand? Why should I have this relationship with you as a brand? Yeah. So that's really a big one, that whole green energy. AI, I'm sure I mean, every other day I have this invitation to a talk about AI. Now, I've actually both have talks and posts on my YouTube channel on AI. My view is that Generally speaking, it had have a lot of efficiencies in the business model, different sectors. Marketing specific, and if we're talking about content creation, I think it's not authentic, it's not creative. And if you're looking for those two for your brand, AI is not the way to go. Okay, so I know this is a bit of a shocker for everybody, but then, I mean, I think everybody is really experimenting with it, whether it's a free tool or not a free tool or whatever. I mean, there's a lot of big question marks. Look at Google just launching yesterday Gemini, and they overclaimed a lot of things. So even a big company, you cannot trust what they're saying or the demo they're putting up through. I would just stick to old school in brand building for the time being until something else comes up. Uh, Now, one of the things I want to stop at, and we touched upon earlier, which is the impact of COVID, but an extension of that, yes, health is important, and the process with the consumer have actually changed a little bit. So let me explain. I got sick, I have a medicine. Okay, so problem solved. But now, and after COVID, consumers are looking for preventive action. I don't want to actually get sick. But even further, they are looking for maintenance. So it's become all this health care, well care, wellness, whatever you want to call it as a platform, has really expanded. And guess what? The competition context have changed. This is not a pharmaceutical thing. This is nutrition, skincare, sports, gym, tools. Can you imagine the scope? And that's why it's trillions of dollars. But the idea is you need to understand consumer segments. You need to understand who you're addressing, because the end game for the consumer is I want to be healthy, and that healthy to me, I want to prevent, I want to maintain, I want to cure myself if I get sick. So it's a whole process, and it's up to you to grab part of it, whatever your business is. It's hard, but it's very lucrative. It's probably one of the biggest I've seen ever as a total portfolio for anybody to play in. The key to succeeding in that, I would tell you, is understanding consumer segmentation. Now, I'm going to tell you this example. I read it somewhere, so I did not really coin it. But they would tell you that, King Charles and Ozzy Osbourne, they're both British, they're both rich, they're the same age, but hey, can we club them together in one segment? Listen, it's so funny because, yeah, I've seen a lot of screwed up research. And no, you cannot put those two together. So you want to drill down on these people. Who are they psychographically? Their attitude towards your category, towards life. I mean, bigger picture. Yeah, I'm a brand strategy consultant, but there's a lot of people out there who have the same title. I'm a female, and I'm Egyptian, and I'm Muslim. But there's a whole lot of people out there with more or less the same profile, but they're not Dalia. So if you want to sell me something, you need to understand that person. And then if there is a one big benefit of AI, it's the use of personalization. Here you have technology. You can speak to me, and you can speak to another person who can have exactly the same values as Dalia, and you sell the same product, but they are, I don't know, maybe from South Africa or British, and it's a he, and maybe much younger or much older. See what I mean? The future and the success is really for companies that understand their consumers. Now, I have to jump in here and be a little bit of, my obnoxious self. And marketeers, please do not be lazy. Please. I mean, try to do the homework. whether on the brand front, putting all your effort in understanding how to properly build a brand. And then at the execution level, don't just pick what the agency tells you, because by the way, it's easy for the agency to just copy and paste. They tell you, oh, by the way, this influencer is absolutely fantastic. We've used them with like 3 or 4 and clients, and these are the KPIs. But you know what? Even those KPIs are being judged now. Performance marketing is a big question mark. Okay, I can talk and talk forever about that. Every you know everything I've read this year, and forums I have, let me put that way, respectable forums and summits that I have been through, they are questioning a lot of these, everyday practices and jargons in marketing. Yeah, just because a big shot in an agency or a company or a brand said that, that gives him a promotion or gives her, but that is not good long term. Again, the key is understand your consumers and do your homework. And one last point on homework, the ROI, please. Yeah? You're not going to get any more budget from your CEO or CFO without justifying why the hell do you want another campaign with another celebrity? Yeah? Why do you want a full activation of 3 to 6 months and all of these promotions, without getting a return in investment apart from sales numbers, which, by the way, you could be selling anyway without that activation? Yeah. So again, I'm sorry to be mean, but yeah, I see a lot of lazy marketeers out there. Now, digital marketing. In a lot of ways, I feel that sometimes that's become a bad word, because marketing is not digital marketing. Digital marketing is one medium that you can communicate about your brand. Okay? Um, the numbers on digital clutter is very, very alarming. I got a question last, I don't know, it was early this year, and I did a talk about it. It's already on my YouTube channel, and it's a very justified question. Can I build a brand solely on digital marketing? Yes, you can, but you need to understand how to build the story of the brand, and you need to know that the brand needs to come up front, and the ad on digital should not be the same one as the one you put on TV. Yeah, there's a lot of learnings, particularly from Kantar, on this, which I've shared in my talk. But, you know, every word you put on that ad and every shot makes a difference, because you need to cut that clutter. Today, attention is really the one thing every brand is looking forward to. And it's very hard to get. There are tools, of course. Again, I mean, if any of you have attended my winning communication workshop, because I drill down on learning from neuromarketing specifically. I mean, we know now how the brain reacts to stimulus. So a lot of this needs to be built in your digital marketing campaign brief. I'm saying that specifically because a one all sort of brief for communication does not really work. Yeah. The other thing we're seeing is conversions of all mediums together. So brands are now trying to be at every point, touch point. So if you're playing games, Xbox or FIFA or whatever, they want to plug in and tell you, hey, are you hungry? Should I connect you now to the hotline for Pizza Hut or KFC or whatever? Yeah. When you are watching a cooking show, you get in an ad and say, "Oh, that is a fascinating recipe. Would you like to buy the ingredients? Let me log you into one of the e-commerce platforms to buy for grocery, to buy the ingredients, and this is what it costs you, and you can get it in like 20 minutes." Another thing we're seeing in media in general, streaming platforms. Now, there is this always debate between should it be with no ads and therefore a higher subscription fee, or vice versa. Now, the world is really split about this because it depends on the nature. So in the Middle East in general, I think we got used to free to air, and now people are thinking, no, we have a subscription so that you can take out the advertising, or block them. But at the moment, it's not really picking up, so advertising is still there, and consumers in the Middle East generally, they are not really annoyed with ads or ads blocking in general. However, it's interesting because I was just reading a report on Europe. Uh, um, this type of streaming is called FAST, which is free ad supportive television. In Europe, particularly German, there was just this report out. They are used to subscription, but now there are more free to air. That word free has become a buzzword in that area, which is never used to be the case. It has always been exclusive content at a price, and consumers in Europe accepted that. But now they realize that there are some channels that they want to push some revenue through advertising, and consumers are now accepting to see that via YouTube for free versus a subscription annual fee. Maybe it's about the free word, maybe it's about that the content is not worth paying more because they're already getting lots and lots of original content, particularly in YouTube, which, I would build on that YouTube is still having a lot of growth because of the original content they have. And I would definitely, build on that with saying TikTok and Twitch, and, particularly Gen Z looking at that. In terms of another this would be a quick one if you're working in sustainability and packaging. Now, you've probably gone through a lot of what shall I say, uh, research is done about how consumers will buy the brand if it has a purpose or sustainability, or all of that. And well, guess what? At the moment of truth, if they see that their favorite brand wrapped in a environmentally friendly packaging, but at a premium price, they will not buy it. So this is the truth, unfortunately, on that. So the challenge would go back to manufacturers and innovators. How can you make sustainability solutions affordable? Because this is what we need to go through. This is like, the push for plant-based products. Why are they are not affordable, you cannot scale it up, and that is the problem. So in concept and consumer acceptance, yeah, fantastic, great. But are they affordable? Can you, I mean, let me rephrase that. I think innovation, and I've spoken a lot about innovation, uh, innovation can only be as good as how you scale it and make it as the daily consumption. Yeah, it has to be integrated in the daily life of consumers. Otherwise, honestly, I don't think it's worth it. There is, of course, a curve where you have adoption phase from niche to being more popular to scaling up, and all of that, and I understand. But there is so much good innovations. Yeah, they're good concepts, particularly in the health. I mean, I don't believe that healthy food or living style should be expensive. That is not fair. It's just for the rich people. You know, I mean, we can debate this forever, of course, but as a concept, I don't really like that. Just putting simply. Retail. And yeah, a few years back we were saying, oh, everything is going to be e-commerce and bricks and mortar is going to close down. And I said, no, that's not going to happen. I mean, Walmart expanded into e-commerce, and Amazon expanded into retail physical stores and vice versa. Yeah, everybody wants to reach consumers, distribution. But the one thing I would advocate for and tell you it is one of the good trends to invest on is D2C, which is direct to consumer. If you have that opportunity and the right set of brand bundle and merchandising and communication, engaging communication, yes, do so, because it is an opportunity to flash out your brand positioning, your values, what are you about, the benefits for the customer, and really be in 100% control of the experience. I really find it really pathetic when I find all of these pop-ups or booths or whatever, and for brands, and then it's just a sales booth. Well, I'm going there to buy skincare, creams, or makeup, not you know not rice. You know, so in that respect, control the brand experience through the D2C. And if you are not, big enough, or the portfolio is not big enough, you can always partner with another brand that is complementary to the customer and not competing to you. I mean, marketeers, you need to think a little bit different, and that's why I spoke earlier about marketeers being lazy. You need to think differently. Yes, like the Apple campaign. Think differently. It's very competitive, and customers' expectations and they've really raised the bar. You should raise the bar as well. Um, let's just dive a little bit into brands, because at this point in time, and I realize it's a very tricky time in the world, there's a lot of politics happening, which I'm not going to talk about, but there has been calls around brands having a voice in ongoing political or social issues. Now, I've always recommended for brands to just stick to what they know. If you're a biscuit, you're a biscuit. Deliver on the claim of being a biscuit. Always do your best to delight the customer. Um, there are a lot of good examples of brands that have built on purpose, but it's a human purpose. So if we're talking about Dove and their beauty campaign from 2009, addressing beauty standards, or maybe always and understanding the vulnerabilities of teenagers when they have their period, especially females in developing markets where they shy of talking about this. That's absolutely fine, but if you want to take a political stand, this could backfire. So for me, I would not advise for this. However, more and more, especially younger people, look up to brands that have a say. It's up to you to make that choice. You can always do it as tactical, but not part of your brand DNA. So that might be a little bit tricky, but it's up to you. I'm just flagging it out in that respect. Um, in terms of brand voice, though, I would highlight that today communication, okay, let me rephrase this. So I'm not advocating that you change the tone of your brand, but maybe when you're writing a new brief around communication, you need to be aware that today people are sort of more nostalgic, vulnerable. It's a stressful world. So those kind of, loud, aggressive kind of communication may not be the right tone for your communication at the moment. I mean, think about it. Yesterday, in the top 100 Billboard, the number one song is actually "Rocking Around the Christmas Tree," which was launched by Brenda Lee in 1958. So people are looking for ways to connect with good times from the past it's not about really a Christmas thing, but I've seen it in a lot of campaigns. Earlier in the year, McDonald's in the US did this, breakthrough kind of communication. They've been talking about it. I've been to Brand Week, Florida, in September, and the vice president of marketing, she was talking about this campaign in collaboration with Snap Inc. And what they were saying is it's about the McDonald's moment. Everybody had a McDonald's moment in their life. It's about nostalgia. So how do you activate that? Um, um, it's a fan truth that they found that everybody has that moment where you had that last fries or your birthday at McDonald's, no matter how old you are. Um, uh, catch that somewhere and remember the connection with a Happy Meal, whether you ate it yourself as a kid or, you got it for your children. So this is just an example where you can go back and connect emotionally with consumers at a softer tone. So that is probably one of the things that will dominate communication in the future. Now, I want to stop at consumers segments. We speak a lot about Gen Z. Gen Z continue to be more authoritative. They will have more money, more fintech solutions for them, and choices. So, yeah, of course, absolutely, go for them. They will always be the I within the we. They're very individualistic, but also they are within a tribe. Okay, they sort of inclusive and exclusive in a way. Um, and the other cohort, which is really picking up, are the seniors. They're living longer, and that connects with the health trend we were talking about earlier. And I have actually a video that I'll put on my YouTube channel next week about that opportunity specifically, not in Europe, but taking a bit of those and administering them into developing markets and Middle East. It's a niche, but it's growing, and guess what? They have money to spend on their health and their new lifestyle. So again, I would say the basics um, would still hold. Yes, customer segmentation, understanding them, understanding their pain points at this point in time, by the way, because people change, yeah, and priorities change. We all like that. I mean, if you think yourself as a customer, you will reflect on yourself as your customers as well and change the narrative to it. But again, in the overall theme of what your brand stands for. So I'm gonna stop here. I hope you found this useful. Um, I'm going to open the floor if you have questions or comments or challenges you have now. I would just remind you of two things that there's exclusive content on my YouTube channel, which is FWD Consultancy, and next year I hope to be starting a class. This class would be of 10 each time. Um, it's going to be very sort of exclusive, unique, niche content. I will be, of course, telling you when this will happen, but more of breakdown of the workshops that I've done, shorter version of it, but to the point, I guess so. The first one I'll start with will be winning communication, a breakdown of the longer workshop version that I did over the last 2 years. This would help in one understanding what encompasses a winning communication, particularly and foremost is attention. So you want to get attention, how to do that in your communication. There will be a build from neuromarketing learnings, and within the other pillar, which is relevancy, how to build a brand from the start whereby you have those tools and maybe multi-sensorial experiences and cues built in your brand, and therefore when you communicate, activate these cues and own them, and then the end game would be you are memorable as a brand. So this is what I'm currently working on. Would be a shorter version, a class of 10 people in person in Cairo, and I'm planning to take this across the region as well. So stay tuned for that. Now, if you would like to comment or ask a question, just, raise your hand and I'll put you on. Okay, looks like this is a wrap up. Um, I don't know, actually, I was thinking this morning, should I tell you Happy New Year? It sounds so lame with all what's going on in the world, to be honest. I mean, I will just tell you world peace. That's even a very weird choice of words considering what's going on. But for you personally, from me to you, I wish you peace of mind. Yeah? Goodbye.